have not felt that bad in my life. And just the fact that it wasn't getting better, I just thought the worst. Like, I thought like something bad was gonna happen to me because I'm not improving. Hey guys, long time no see. As you can tell by the title, I had the virus. But before we get into it, I just want to talk about why I've been gone for so long. Also, sorry if I still sound sick. I still have a couple symptoms, but just to backtrack, I don't know if I'm going to upload any sort of sequel to that last video I uploaded. I know some people were looking forward to it, but I'm still in the process of figuring out what it is that I want to continue uploading on my channel. I have been on YouTube for a very long time, and I feel like I've done a lot of what I want to already do, and so I do struggle with what to do next. So that's why I was gone for so long, and then I took on a second job, so even if I had something that I wanted to film and edit, I just didn't have the time to do so. Yeah, but then after all that happened, I got the virus. So here we are, and I'm going to tell you my story. Now, as you guys know, in the beginning of the pandemic, I talked a lot about the virus. I talked about, numbers in Pennsylvania, which is where I live. I don't remember if I talked about my county as a whole, but my county is not doing well. At one point, we were like number 3 in the state, which is really sad. So I did talk a lot about the virus and how important it is to wear your mask, and then I got it. Around August, I was sick, and I wasn't sure if it was the virus. I had symptoms of the virus, but I thought there was a pretty good chance it was the virus, so I went and got tested. Turns out it wasn't the virus, so I continued on with my life. Then come the end of October, actually on Halloween, I got really sick. I had a really bad fever, really, really bad head congestion, really bad, like worst I ever had in my life. I ended up getting tested because my symptoms were really bad and they aligned with COVID. Turns out, still did not have COVID. So up until that point, I thought, all right, I must be doing something right if I'm not getting COVID. I'm still getting sick, but I haven't gotten COVID. Just to put out a disclaimer, after that happened, I took on a second job, and this second job was pretty much cleaning, and I worked around a lot of people that didn't wear masks. They just didn't believe in them, and they just figured that if they got the virus, it was going to be no big deal anyway. It's just like the flu. So I worked around a lot of really careless people, and the job itself is just, it's risky. You're cleaning up after random people every day. And even though up until that point, my boss had told me there were no cases at the hotel that I was working at, and I don't know if that's true. I don't know if she was just telling me that, or just to her knowledge there wasn't any cases. But I felt safe at the time, so that's why I didn't mind working there. I wasn't too happy with the fact that I was working with people who just didn't believe in the virus, but I thought, you know what, everything will be fine. If none of them have gotten the virus up until this point, maybe I'll be alright. Then January 4th happened. So January 4th was a Monday. My boyfriend had work that day. I did not. I'm off on Mondays. Long story short, I can't remember if we had a bad snowstorm or a rainstorm or what it was, but my boyfriend's job lost power, so he was stuck outside until they got power back. So he was outside for like hours. Long story short, he came home, everything was fine, and then right before we were about to go to bed, he had said to me, I feel like I have a slight fever. Felt his head, and I'm like, I think you're fine. And I figured maybe he's just not feeling well because he was outside all day. It's winter. Why his job stuck him outside all day during the winter, I don't know, but I just thought maybe he's just not feeling well. He was stuck outside all day. Sometimes when you're outside in the cold all day, like you feel a little, You almost feel like you have like a cold coming on. So I just thought it was one of those, and I'm like, nah, I think you're fine. The next morning, I have to work both my jobs. I work the cleaning job in the morning, and then I work the newspaper job towards the evening. So I have to get up early, maybe like, I think it's like 2 hours after my boyfriend has to get up. He got up, he's getting ready for work, and then all of a sudden, he wakes me up and he's like, I'm calling out of work. I'm not feeling well, I have a slight fever. And still, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well, I'm sure he'll be fine. You know, probably just, you know, being outside all day in the cold just kind of did it to him. You know, still not really thinking anything of it because that's the only thing that was going on with him at the time. Him calling out, he's already out of work until he gets test results back for COVID. So I was a little worried. I'm like, oh man, like he's probably just got like a cold or just not feeling well today, from being outside. Like this really sucks. Still literally not thinking anything of it. I get up for work. As soon as I get to the hotel, I realize like something's off. Like I'm very tired. And so I didn't know if it was just because my boyfriend woke me up when he was supposed to get up for work, and maybe I just like lost some sleep because of that. I mean, I did go back to bed after that, so I don't know. When I got into work, I instantly felt like, wow, like I really don't want to do anything today. I am so tired. I mean, I already struggle with sleeping in general, so I thought it was just one of those moments. Like maybe I just didn't go to bed early enough. I don't know. Still not thinking anything of it. And I shouldn't be laughing because it's not funny now, but I was with one of the managers at the hotel, and when I was on my break, I kept yawning, and she was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I am just so tired. I can't wait for this day to be over. In this conversation, she brought up COVID, and like I said, everybody I work with just literally doesn't believe in COVID, like, and if they do, they just think like, it's fine, if they get it, it'll just be like a cold or the flu, they'll be all right. And one of the comments she made, which is like kind of funny to think about now, but also like not, because like I got COVID, but she said something along the lines of like, you know, everyone here doesn't wear masks, and like we've never gotten COVID, so like clearly like there's no point in us wearing masks. And I remember just being like, ha ha ha, like funny. Like, obviously, I wore my mask every day, so, like, I didn't know if it was a dig at me, or if that was just her sharing her opinion, or what, but I was like, haha, very funny, I wish you all would wear masks, but I was like, whatever. Finally get done this day, and I'm exhausted, and I think I got home around, like, 2 o'clock. I had, like, a solid hour and 45 minutes until my next job, so the second, like, I literally got home, and I don't even think I said hi to my boyfriend. Like, I was so tired that I was like, I need to go straight to bed and get as much sleep as I can before I work my second job. Still, this isn't like out of the ordinary. I have like been tired between my jobs and have slept. So still, I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm thinking like, I'm just tired. I didn't get enough sleep last night. It's fine. So I go straight to bed, fall asleep. My alarm goes off for me to wake up. I'm still feeling kind of tired, but I'm like, I feel like a little better. So, you know, I start working my job, and as I'm working, like as the night is going on, like my body hurts so bad. Like so bad. I have arthritis, so that's my first thought. Like, I'm thinking like, this is just arthritis, my joints are just hurting, like, I just need to take some sort of Advil or something, but for some reason the Advil just wasn't doing anything. Like my body just hurt so bad. I just knew something was off, but still for some reason COVID didn't cross my mind. And during this entire pandemic, I have been so scared of getting the virus, and for some reason the time that I actually have it, it didn't cross my mind like, hey, this might be COVID. You know, I get through my shift and I'm like, okay, everything's all right. I'm just gonna go straight to bed. The next morning, I have to work both jobs again. And when I woke up, my body just hurt so bad. I felt a bit of like head congestion, and I was still very tired. Like, it felt like I just wasn't sleeping. But I was. Like, I went to bed early that night. Like, the second I got done my shift, I went to bed. And I woke up just feeling awful. So I called out of my first job. I didn't call out of my second job because, one, I work from home. I figured with whatever is going on with me, I can just, get through it. I'm only working from home. It'll be all right. And I already made some commitments where I was filling in for sports that day. So I really didn't want to have to call out and take away his day off that he was going to have, especially because I had already agreed to it. And I figured I can deal with me being tired and my body aching. It'll be all right. I'm continuing on my day and I am just feeling worse. Like, it felt like my head congestion was just getting worse by the minute. It felt like I was almost drunk. Like, it felt like I was not on this planet. Like, I just felt so out of it. But I was like, I have a commitment. I have to get through my shift. So I did. I got through my shift and I was like, I'm so tired, I'm going straight to bed again. Still not thinking anything of it. Now my boyfriend still at this point doesn't have his results, so he for the most part was fine. After the first day of him feeling like he had a slight fever, after that he was for the most part okay. He had head congestion just as bad as I did, but other than that, this is the only symptom he had for a while. So then Thursday rolls around. I have off of my second job at the hotel, so I didn't have to worry about seeing if I was okay for that. But when I woke up, I texted my mom. I told her like what was going on, and I told her that Seth is out of work for his symptoms, and she was like, I think it's a good idea for you to go get tested. And I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't feel like I have COVID. Like, it just feels like, if anything, maybe it's just a cold or the flu. Like, I had been tested twice previously, and those times I felt like I had it, and so I wasn't really hesitant of getting a test, but this time I was just like, I think I'm fine. And she was like, no, I think it's a good idea, I think you should get tested, just play it safe. My primary doctor does rapid tests, and rapid tests aren't normally as accurate, but I figured no point in getting the same test that my boyfriend got, because his is already gonna take like a good 5 days. Why not just try out the rapid test, which I've done before and it came back negative, but I'm like, you know what, this is just the easiest thing I can do right now, is to just do the rapid test. Have my boyfriend drive me down to my doctor. I got the test. They pretty much, what they did was they asked for my name. They asked if anybody had sent me here, like any sort of doctor or anything. They asked if that was my doctor, because they were doing tests for people that weren't patients there. And then they asked for all my symptoms. And when I told them all my symptoms, like when they were asking me, like, do you have this? Do you have this? That's when it hit me like, whoa, I have almost every symptom for COVID minus the shortness of breath and the loss of taste and smell. And I was like, well, this could still be a cold or the flu. These are still all the same symptoms, but I thought it was strange because I was like, wow, I didn't realize I had all these symptoms. Like, I was still thinking, like, I just have, I'm just tired. I just have head congestion. Like, I wasn't thinking, like, oh, I have all these other symptoms. So I get tested, get in the car. We're driving, and all of a sudden I get a phone call. I think it's only been like 20 minutes where they got my results already. They call me. I'm expecting them to be like, hey, just so you know, like, you came back negative, blah, blah, blah. This is what you probably have. This is what you need to do. Take care of yourself, blah. No, actually, they called me and they said, unfortunately, your test came back positive. And I'm like, what? Like, I truly was not expecting it. Like, the last 2 times, my jaw would not have dropped if they told me that I had it. Like, okay, I had a feeling, that's why I got tested. Like, this time, I, didn't have a feeling. Like, my boyfriend didn't say, I think you have COVID. Like, my mom didn't even say that she thought I had COVID, but she is the reason I got tested. I would not have gotten tested this time unless these symptoms got worse, of course. But that day, I would not have gotten tested if my mom, like, didn't recommend me going, because I didn't feel like I had it. And so I was like, oh my god, like, now we have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Like, this sucks. So, had to make some phone calls. The next day rolls around. Now, this is when I noticed, like, okay, this is not gonna be easy. So, I still have the shortness of breath, and I'm experiencing, like, fevers, like, back to back, like, nonstop. Now, fevers just suck in general. They normally do. So I'm not shocked. And I'm the type of person that, I don't know, I feel like this isn't as common for some reason with other people as it is for me, but I'm the type of person that when I'm sick, like, it doesn't take much for me to, like, throw up. Like, I have a very weak stomach when, like, I'm not feeling well, so whenever I break a fever, I usually throw up, and that's what was going on. It was like, I got a fever, then I threw up, and I was fine. Then I got a fever, then I threw up, then I was fine. And it was just like a cycle. And I was like, wow, this really sucks. But I've had a fever before, you know, no big deal. But then I noticed something was off with my breathing. And that's when I started to get worried, because the only time that I've experienced something sort of related to not being able to breathe properly was when I had bronchitis like a year or two ago. But it was different. It was like, I could breathe, but it felt like I couldn't breathe in all the way. Like, it felt like my breaths were just shorter, which still isn't fun, but I've experienced that. But that's not what was going on this time. Like, I felt that, but there was, like, more to it. I couldn't walk far distances in the house. Like, if I walked from my couch to the fridge, like, it felt like I had just went for a run. Like, I had to catch my breath when I would go anywhere. And I was like, okay, this is strange. I've never felt this before. And so, for the most part, I just didn't move unless I really had to. Like, I really just relied on my boyfriend to do everything for me. It really sucked. So, this is only day 4. I'm feeling awful. Then day 5 rolls around, so now we are on January 9th. I have all the same symptoms, but I am having trouble sleeping at night. Like, I can easily take a nap during the day, but at night, like, I can't sleep. It's like I have insomnia. Like, I am just up all hours of the night. And this is when I started to experience, like, my taste and smell was a little off. It felt almost like it was very faint. Like, I didn't lose it at this point. It was very faint. I was like, I can smell and taste this, but, like, it's not very strong. And so I knew it was coming. And that day, my boyfriend still has only been experiencing the head congestion up to this point. He has a cup of coffee, I think he has like cereal or something, you know, we're just getting through it. And then later, I think it was only like an hour or two later, he went to like eat something or smell something, I forget which it was. No, smell something. I have a bunch of, I looked like a pharmacy. I had tons of vitamins and meds that I was on, and one of the vitamins I had, I can't remember I want to say it was like vitamin B or something, and it smells awful, like so bad, and I just wanted to bring it to my boyfriend and have him smell it, just because if I'm gonna suffer through this bad smell, you gotta smell it too. So I brought it to him and he couldn't smell anything, and he's like, oh my god, I literally just had like coffee and like cereal like not even an hour ago, and I can't smell this. And then he got up and he's trying to smell everything in the house, he's trying to eat things, he can't taste or smell at all. And I'm like, great, that's what's coming for me, because I can already feel that my taste and smell are very faint. So I knew that that was probably going to be my next symptom, because like I said, his symptoms started before me, so whatever happened to him, I just assumed that was going to happen to me, except I had every symptom you could possibly have for COVID, and he didn't. It affects everybody differently. I have no underlying pre-existing health conditions, but it affected me bad. So at this point, I'm still feeling like I feel awful, but like I'm still able to do certain things. Like I'm pretty sure I made dinner that night. Like I was still up to doing that kind of stuff. Then day 6 rolls around, and this is when I truly, like, I just felt like it can't get any worse than this. Like, this is, like, I couldn't taste, I couldn't smell, I had head congestion, had a fever, I had really bad shortness of breath, and I was throwing up, and I still had the insomnia. Now, my shortness of breath, like, this is when it, like, fully hit me, where, like, I can't move. Like, if I move, I cannot breathe. If I'm laying in bed and I want to roll over from my left side to my right side, it felt like I just ran a mile. Like, it's so hard to explain, like, to somebody that you can't roll over in bed because you can't breathe when you do that. Like, I literally could not move. If I did anything, I was out of breath. Like, it was insane. Like, I had to rely on my boyfriend to do everything for me. But there were some things that I can't rely on him for. Like, I can't have him carry me to bed every night. I can't have him carry me to the bathroom when I have to use the bathroom. It was, like, my shortness of breath was really bad. And knowing that people had it worse than I did still was, like, that's insane to me. Like, I had really bad shortness of breath, and, like, truly didn't know what shortness of breath was until I got COVID, and it's awful. I feel so bad for people that this is normal for them. But I'm thinking, by Monday, I'll be good. I'll be good to go, and then Tuesday, I can start working again. My job from home. Then Monday rolled around and I still have all the same symptoms, but almost felt like each symptom was just a little worse. And that's when I started to worry. So I'm like, okay, we're going on a week now. You know, I've had the flu before, and usually by 7 days, you start to feel some sort of improvement. Like, usually when I have the flu, my fever lasts at most like 3 or 4 days. After like the 3rd or 4th day, like usually your fever, you know, starts to like fully breaks, goes away. No, I'm still experiencing a fever on day 7 and everything else. And at this point, I'm like, wow, like I really can't catch a break. Like we're on day 7 and I'm still really going through it. And I'm like, okay, well, have a feeling I'm not going to be able to work tomorrow, but I'm just gonna, you know, wait it out, wait till the next day, and see what happens. So, Tuesday, January 12th rolls around. This is day 8. I still have all the same symptoms. They feel slightly worse than the day before, and now I added on nausea. Now I feel like I'm gonna throw up all the time, even when I'm not actually throwing up. And to kind of give details on why throwing up was so awful, because like normally when you throw up afterwards, you have like, it feels like a relief. Like usually when you're not feeling well and you feel like you're gonna throw up, sometimes it's almost better to just throw up, because then afterwards you feel so much better. This was not the case. I tried to avoid throwing up at any cost because of how bad my shortness of breath was. That, you know, like the moments before you're about to throw up and your breathing gets like a little weird, like you start going like, and then like you throw up. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like right before you're about to sneeze and you're like, and then you sneeze, like one of those moments before you're about to throw up. Well, because that was happening and because I had shortness of breath, there was moments before and during me throwing up that like I wasn't breathing. Like I could not breathe. Like it was too much for oxygen to get into my body, that like it was really scary. Like it's scary not being able to breathe. It really is. So there were times where I'm like, this is it, this is gonna be the time where I can't breathe and I'm gonna pass out from it. Like, I was starting to get really worried with my breathing, that, like, I couldn't throw up with how bad my breathing was. But you can't stop yourself from throwing up. Like, if it's coming, it's coming, and, So, the next day rolls around. Now we are on day 9, Wednesday, January 13th. I still have all the same symptoms, and I'm like, wow, it's so persistent. I thought at this point I would feel some sort of improvement with something, and I didn't feel it with anything, literally anything. And so now at this point, I'm like, my breathing is so bad, I don't know if I should be at the hospital, because I know COVID can lead to pneumonia, and I've never had pneumonia before, and so I wanted to play it safe, and if I need to go to the hospital, I'll go to the hospital, but I also didn't want to take up a hospital room or bed if someone else needed it, more than I did. And so I called my primary doctor. And right now with the pandemic, they're not taking any calls. They're only if you leave a voicemail and it has something to do with COVID or it's some sort of emergency, then they'll get back to you. So I end up leaving a voicemail, and I explain what's going on with my COVID, and I wanted some sort of medical advice, should I go to the hospital, yada yada yada. So the next day, this is day 10, January 14th, they gave me a call back, and they said, if you have any sort of shortness of breath, you need to take a trip to the ER. I get there, and my boyfriend can't come in with me. That's just how hospitals are right now. They aren't letting you bring anybody in, and it just wouldn't make sense to have another COVID patient come in. It's just safer to just not. But what really sucked was I really wanted him to come in with me for the simple fact that I'm struggling to walk, and so I wanted him to get a wheelchair and wheel me in, because like I said, I can't walk literally from this couch to that table back there. I couldn't do that. That was too much for me. And so he brought me to the front door, and he was like, if you need to take breaks, stop if you need to breathe, do what you need to do. It wasn't a far distance from the car to the front desk, but like I said, it was enough that I can't breathe. I couldn't even walk from this couch to that table back there. So, that's what I did. I got to the front desk, and I'm out of breath. And he's asking me questions, and I'm like, my name is Stephanie Pichetti. This is my birthday. These are my symptoms. That's what I was doing. It was very clear that I could not breathe. And let me just say, I really appreciate anybody in the medical field right now, working very hard. However, in the area that I live in, I have really bad hospitals, let me just say, as somebody who works for the newspaper, I'm aware of lawsuits and things that go wrong in the area, and our hospitals in the area are very known for that kind of stuff. So I'm already going into this hospital knowing that there's a chance they're not going to do anything for me and just send me home, especially because I have also had previous experiences of going to these hospitals and them just sending me home. They're not good. They're really not. I don't know if and I hate to say that because people that work in the medical field are so important, and I really appreciate them, especially during this pandemic. But the hospitals in my area are just not it. They really aren't. It was overall a pretty bad experience. I'm not going to get too much into it because that's not what this video is about. But the person that was working the front desk was kind of giving me attitude, like, just tell me, like, what your name is, like, what your birthday is, and, like, just wanted me to, like, get the words out, but, like, I'm struggling to breathe, so I'm having a hard time doing this, and he was almost getting, like, annoyed, like, I don't know if it just came off like I'm exaggerating, I'm being dramatic, I have no idea, but truly I was going through it. I could not breathe, like, and so, after I went through all of that, they took me straight back to, a room, and so I'm walking so slow, because I don't want to have to stop in the middle of the hallway, and just in case, like, a doctor is walking by me, or some sort of patient, like, I don't want to be in the hallway. I want to get to the room as soon as I can, so I'm trying to make it to the room without taking any breaks. It wasn't that far, but, you know, by the time I got to the room and sat down, like, I'm out of breath, of course, and it's even harder when you have a mask on, and you have shortness of breath, like, you truly feel like, wow, I can't breathe, I'm dying. Truly, that's what it felt like. So I get there, I sit down, and, they're taking my, you know, they're checking my blood pressure, and, like, all that stuff, and, then they're like, we have to take some blood, and we're gonna, they took it, I'll insert a photo if I still have a photo. You could sort of see a bruise. But they stuck a needle, like, right here. Now, I've never had one there before, and long story short, every time I've gone to this hospital and they've taken blood from me, they've stuck me in multiple spots. The worst I've ever had it was they stuck it, like, right here. I'll insert a photo of that bruising. That was bad. But this time, the actual needle itself was awful, like, truly awful, and, like, I have really high pain tolerance, so I wasn't expecting this to hurt. I am afraid of needles, though, like, I can't look at them, so I was turned away with my eyes closed, because normally when you're sick, you just feel pain differently, so I knew that, like, I was gonna be more sensitive to this in general, so that's why I turned my head and closed my eyes. I normally don't have to do that. Like, I've gotten my blood taken before, and I've actually just watched it and just, like, you know, still terrified of needles, though. But I don't know. I don't know if it was the spot that hurt so bad. I don't know if it was just the actual needle. Maybe it was thicker than normal. I have no idea, but this pain was almost unbearable. Like, I started hyperventilating. Like, I mean, I already can't breathe. But I've never been able to not breathe because of a needle. And that was when, like, there was two nurses there. There was the one that was actually doing it, and there was the other one that was doing, like, my blood pressure and stuff. And she's, like, watching the machine as, like, this woman is, like, taking the blood, and she's like, you need to continue breathing, or we're gonna have to start this, like, all over again, like, we're gonna have to stick you again. And I'm like, like, under my mask, like, it was it's kind of funny looking back now, because, like, I probably looked insane, but in the moment, like, I couldn't breathe. Like, it was the worst pain I had ever felt when it came to a needle. It was crazy. Still don't know why it hurt so bad, but after they did it, she was like, I'm so sorry. She's like, I didn't want to tell you that it was gonna hurt, you know, because then, like, I thought you would panic more. And she's like, it usually hurts this bad. And I'm like, does it? Like, I've never had to get my blood taken, and it hurt. Like, ever. Like, not even in the slightest of it. It hurt so bad. Anyway, so they do that. You know, they take my blood away, and then they do, like, a chest x-ray. They just literally brought the entire machine into the room and just had me stay where I was sitting and took the chest x-ray like that. I don't know if it was just due to COVID, like, they just didn't want me roaming, but thank God, because I can't walk. So they did the chest x-ray, and then they left, and I literally, after all of that, before my nurse left the room, I asked if I could, I asked for a puke bag, because at this point, like, I don't know if it's my anxiety or if it's just COVID, but I felt so nauseous, like it felt like I was gonna throw up, and I was like, I need a bag, like I'm going through it. So she hands me a bag and she leaves, and she pretty much told me, like, do not leave this room, you have COVID, we can't have your symptoms out and about. So I'm in this room, I'm literally in this room for an hour, just waiting for results. My boyfriend is sitting in the parking lot waiting for me. Finally, a doctor comes in, someone who I never met. I don't even know his name. I think it's on the paper they sent me home with, but I don't even remember him, like, introducing himself. He pretty much walked in, said, all of your results are good, you know, just continue taking all the meds and vitamins that you're taking, you know, and you can be on your way. And I'm like, I just went through all that torture and you're sending me home. So, you know, I was relieved that, like, you know, I didn't want him to come back and, like, listen, your breathing got so bad, you know, your COVID got so bad that you have pneumonia. Like, I'm glad that wasn't the case, because that's usually what puts people, like, on, like, breathing machines and stuff, is, like, it turns into, like, pneumonia. Luckily that wasn't the case for me, but it still sucked because I felt like I just wasted my time and wasted their time. Like, I just went there feeling the worst I've ever felt in my entire life and not even being treated in the slightest. Like, I was hoping, you know, honestly, I don't really know what I was hoping, but I felt stupid for going, so I was like, I just thought my breathing at that point was so bad, and my doctor was saying, like, I need to go to the ER, and just the fact that nothing came out of it other than, hey, your results are fine, you can go home. I don't know, I felt stupid, so I was like, alright, well, guess I gotta go home. So when the nurse came in to, like, give me my papers of, like, you know, continue doing what you're doing, yada yada yada, I was like, would it be too much to ask for, like, a wheelchair? And she was like, for what? And I look at her and I'm like, I can't breathe? Like, I don't know. It felt very rude to me because it was very clear that I'm there because I can't breathe. And so when I ask for a wheelchair because I can't walk, I think there's a good chance that I'm asking for it because I can't breathe. I don't know. She was very rude about getting me a wheelchair. I don't know what, like, I don't know if she had a bad day or she just thought I was exaggerating or what, but, like, I didn't want to have to walk all the way from my room to all the way outside to the car. Like, I needed the help. I truly did. I'm not the type of person that will ask for a wheelchair ever. Like, this is the first time I've ever asked for one. I can't breathe. Just help me out. She ended up wheeling me out, got in the car, and went home and just dealt with my symptoms. Then the next day, so this is day 11, Friday, January 15th. I'm still going through it. I still have all the symptoms. I'm still calling out of work. And I'm like, wow, like, this really sucks. I don't feel any sort of improvement. I don't know if, like, what I'm doing is helping at all. Like, it was such, like, a sucky cycle. Like, I would go to my bed by, like, 9 o'clock at night. And then I would fall asleep until, like, 1 or 2 in the morning. And then I would be up, like, throwing up, and, like, it was such a bad cycle. I'm still trying to get my sleep back on, like, schedule, because, like, I'm still not sleeping right now, but it was truly, like, it got to the point where, like, I would wake up in the morning, like, hoping I would, like, feel better, and wake up still feeling just as awful, if not worse. And so, like, I was just crying, like, every morning. Like, this really sucks. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting better, and, like, I'm getting, like, emotional thinking about it. But, like, I never felt worse in my life, and, like, I would just cry because I just felt awful. Like, I've never felt that bad in my life. Like, truly have not felt that bad in my life. And just the fact that it wasn't getting better, I just thought the worst. Like, I thought, like, something bad was gonna happen to me because I'm not improving. And every time, like, I would talk to, like, some sort of doctor, they were just pretty much telling me, like, this is normal. You just have to ride it out. but, like, something in me felt like it wasn't normal, and so, like, I was panicking all the time. Like, I was just crying over, like, wow, like, I threw up again, like, or wow, like, I have a fever again, or like, wow, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom without, you know, being out of breath. Like, it was bad. So, like, I would spend my mornings or nights, normally mornings, just crying, because, like, I thought, like, this is it, like, I'm not improving, like, like, truly felt like I was stuck like this, like, and this was day 11. I still had a couple more days to go of my quarantine. That doesn't mean my symptoms were going to be done, but of my quarantine, I still had a couple more days. So, now we're on day 12, January 16th, it's a Saturday. This is 2 days after my hospital visit. I have now woken up with no head congestion. And that was, like, the best thing I could have experienced in my life, because that was the moment where I felt like, okay, something I'm taking is working. Like, the fact that I have one less symptom, that means I'm improving. I mean, I still could not breathe. I still couldn't taste or smell anything. I was still nauseous all the time. I was still throwing up, but I no longer had the head congestion. Now, normally, my fevers got to the point where I wasn't having it in the morning or during the day. It was normally around, like, 3 or 4. Like, when 3 or 4 rolled around, that's when my fevers would start. So, in the morning, all I'm realizing is, okay, I no longer have head congestion. Something is improving. I'm getting better. So, this is day 12 that I'm like, great, I have some sort of hope. And then, later in the day rolls around, and I realize, oh my god, I have no fever today. This is, like, truly amazing. Now, I still have the rest of my other symptoms. I'm still throwing up. I don't know if the throwing up was just from being nauseous. I don't know if being nauseous was from anxiety. I don't know at this point. I still couldn't breathe. And that's the symptom that scared me the most, is the fact that I couldn't walk from my bed to the bathroom. Because I just felt like if I couldn't simply do that, like, I truly felt hopeless. Like, really did. Like, not being able to breathe, you just feel like you can't do anything. Like, that's just, I don't know, that's just, like, what it feels like. Like, you feel hopeless. Like, that's just how I felt. Then day 13, this is Sunday, January 17th. Still have no taste or smell, still have shortness of breath, still have nausea and vomiting. It's all the same symptoms from day 12. But that's when I noticed my shortness of breath was ever so slightly better. I was still out of breath walking to places, but I realized I could roll over in bed and it not be as bad. So that's when I realized, okay, thank God, my breathing must be getting better. Thank God. Thank God. Because that was the one symptom that I truly felt like I was dying. Like, that sounds dramatic, but, like, I don't know how to explain it unless you go through it. Like, not being able to breathe sucks. And then, so, roll around to day 14, Monday, January 18th. This is when, I can taste again. And this was such a miracle. I couldn't smell, which was strange. I always thought, like, your taste and smell were connected. So, like, I thought if you didn't have one, you didn't have the other. And I thought if you had one, then you had the, like, I thought that's just how it was. So it was very strange that I could taste, but I couldn't smell, which was great because I was really struggling to eat since I couldn't taste. Cause, like, I'm weird when it comes to, like, different textures of food. And so just having the texture of something and not being able to taste what it tastes like, such a weird sensation. So I was really struggling. Like, I wasn't eating much because it was just hard. So having my taste back was such a relief. My stomach wasn't growling all the time. I was able to eat which I think helped a lot in terms of my fever. I think that helped it not come back because I wasn't like, I don't know, everything is just connected, like because I couldn't taste anything, I wasn't eating or drinking that much, and because I wasn't eating or drinking very much, fevers were happening, and I was nauseous and throwing up, and it's just, being able to taste helped me overall a lot. So that was day 14. I still had a bunch of symptoms, but they definitely were improving. Then day 15 is kind of when I stopped keeping track because I felt like I was better enough that I didn't really need to keep track of my symptoms. This was Tuesday, January 19th. This is when I could smell again. But I was still going through like nausea. And this is when my shortness of breath was, I don't want to say better because I am still going through it when it comes to my breathing, but it was better. I, at this point, can walk from my bed to the bathroom without being out of breath. This day was when I was able to walk around the house. I could do things for myself. You know, there were still moments where I was overdoing it, because, like, as you can see, I still have Christmas stuff up. I never got around to taking down, like, all my Christmas decorations, and so that day, I started to do it, and, like, I would have to take breaks, because after a while, it was like, okay, I'm overdoing it, that was too much, I can't breathe, and, like, even just last night, when I took the trash out with my boyfriend, like, walking all the way down the end of the driveway and back, and then coming inside, like, I had to take a minute and breathe. So like I'm still going through it when it comes to breathing. But today is Tuesday, January 26th. So what day is that? Oh, that's a whole week from the last time that I wrote down my symptoms. So as of right now, I quit my second job. I didn't want to put my health at risk anymore, and I just overall didn't want to work in an environment with people who didn't believe in what I just went through. But I also I didn't want to put my health at risk again. Like, I didn't want to take the chance of, because I technically still don't know where I got it from. My best guess is that I got it from my boyfriend because his symptoms started first. But in case I did not, I don't want to put myself at risk again, because clearly I'm not the type of person that is going to get very mild symptoms. So I don't want to be cleaning up after people that I don't know if they have COVID or not, because my body clearly just can't handle it. So I ended up quitting that job. And also my coworkers don't wear masks. So even if the people I'm cleaning up after are fine, I'm not guaranteed that my coworkers are fine. It's just safer for me to drop the second job, which sucks because not that I really liked it, but I picked it up for a reason. I wanted the extra money, and now I can't do it because of my health. But I'm not that mad about it because my health comes first. I did start working at my other job again, obviously working from home still. January 21st, I think that was a Thursday. That was when I started back up, so yeah, really gone through it. So I pretty much wanted to tell my story, not only to just give some sort of hope for people that are currently going through it, but I kind of just want to talk about like how important it really is. And I know it's probably very annoying to hear up until this point because it's almost been a year since COVID has been a thing, but it's not a joke. I'm not somebody who has any sort of pre-existing health conditions, and the fact that it affected me that bad, I just think like you don't want to take the risk, like you really don't. And not only do I think like you shouldn't take the risk because like you could end up like me, but like you really don't want to do that to like a family member, a friend. Like please just wear a mask. I know it's annoying, but like it's not that much of an inconvenience. You're literally only wearing it to like walk into a store and pick up the groceries you need and leave. Like, it's really not that bad. Just wear a mask. Stay away from people you don't live with. The numbers are so bad, and like thankfully there are vaccines now. Currently not available to everybody yet. There are different phases for different people. I'm actually in phase 1C with my job because I work for the media. And I'm pretty sure we're still only in phase like 1A or something like that. So I have a little ways to go. I do plan on getting the vaccine, and I'm probably going to make a video about that if you guys want information on that. But yeah, just be as safe as you can. We have had plenty of research done by actual doctors and scientists, and just, I think not only is it ignorant to not believe in science, but I think it's very dumb to not believe in science. Like, I just don't know why you would think you know more than an actual doctor when it comes to the pandemic. If you enjoyed this video for whatever reason, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Thank you for all the new subscribers that I've gotten over the course of me not uploading. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to upload more often now that I have the time. But yeah, truly appreciate everyone that has subscribed. I'm going to leave some links down below of like more information on the virus, if you're unsure of you know, what's facts and what's not. I'm also gonna leave any sort of things that you can help people with the virus, or even the medical field, how you can help. Just a lot of stuff below that will be helpful for COVID. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys next Monday. Bye.